Recording in progress.
Okay. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Grab your seats. All right, everybody's up. All right, we'll just go right to the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Well, that was perfect. Didn't want to miss the opportunity while we have everybody standing to do that. But good morning. Welcome to the January meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. Happy New Year to everyone. As always, don't forget to sign for the board of director members. Sign the sign-in sheet to ensure we have a quorum and give everyone accounted for being here today. Obviously, as we start off the new year, we're all paying attention to what's happening in Southern California, and thoughts are with everybody there, and also recognizing and the impacts and the ramifications for what this fire and disaster is having on all of the things that we do, even here, obviously in El Dorado County. So we know many of our partners are engaged in that effort. So we recognize that many of them may not be able to attend today. So with that, great turnout from all of you, and we will then just dive right into today's agenda. So item number 4, our first action is our consent calendar. On consent today is the approving the meeting agenda for today and approving the draft meeting minutes from our November 20th meeting. So with that, I would like to have someone make a motion to approve the consent calendar. Okay, Janet makes a motion. Hugh seconds the motion. Any discussion, conversation on the consent calendar? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, any opposition? All right, consent approved as presented. Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. We have several items to cover in here, and I can tell you that the executive board team was busy over the holidays, working with search pros and working with folks to interview as part of, and it really all fits into item 5A, the strategic planning task group presentation that Paul's going to give, that you all asked to have the group review comments and bring back a proposal and a set of recommendations. Well, a key piece of that, as you remember and you approved at the last meeting, was the hiring of an executive coordinator. So before we dive into Paul's presentation, I would like to announce that we've been successful. We're very excited to bring forward and announce today that Jennifer Turner will be, actually is now, our executive coordinator. Her official start date is this coming Monday, but we asked Jennifer to come today to at least put a face with the name and introduce her. And then obviously she will be here this morning. And if you have opportunity to come up after the meeting and introduce yourself, that would be awesome. So Jennifer, I don't know, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you want to say a word or two. Oh yeah, microphone would be good. Sorry.
We have people who can't hear unless we're not.
You have to project. We're still working.
Excited to come aboard with the fire council here. I have many years of educational experience as well as work experience that lend well to this position. And all I can say is thank you very much for having me aboard.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Before she leaves today, she'll be getting a long list of things she's going to have.
Don't make her quit.
Yeah, go easy on her, at least for the first day. The first week. Great. All right. Well, with that, then I'm going to turn it to Paul for the update on the recommendations, the strategic planning recommendations. So as always, I'm going to work on the PowerPoint and make this share.
While you bring that up. Yes, I broke my hand. My normal sin is using the hand guy. hold on to it right there. Okay, hopefully this will be the final presentation on the strategic plan. As I went back into this, as we looked at the comments, one thing I thought would be good is to just bring up our mission, making sure that our strategic plan aligns with our mission. So as I say, protect the people of El Dorado County and their property from the effects of catastrophic wildfire, for education, cooperation, innovation, and action. And this is our third time, but call it part one. And there's an action item. So hopefully, by the end of this presentation, the organization feels comfortable enough to adopt this, and it actually works. So once again, this is the group: Dorothy, Elizabeth, Tamara, Steve, and myself. And we met a number of times, including taking the comments from the last presentation and really just kind of jumped in and chewed on them for quite a while to try and synthesize them to things that should be wrong. This is what we, there's no changes here. The changes are in red. And please, any of the group, please jump in to add or correct me on anything. And
Paul, I'm going to quickly adjust. It's not sharing online, and I want to make sure the folks.
anybody stand by?
Are we on the back on the right slide right there?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me get the sharing going. Technology is always the challenge. Okay, I think we're back. Go ahead.
No, it's not advancing.
All right, I'll advance it for you.
You remember the last time we had a number of things here, and we talked about the need to potentially hire an executive coordinator. Well, that point is moved because now we had. So the question that always comes up is, a lot of organizations have grandiose plans, but they can't pay for it. So we really looked at this and we feel confident that based on what we have now, we have sufficient funding for the executive coordinator and the ancillary things that go with it for at least 4 to 6 years. And that's with nothing else coming in the door. That is a very unusual circumstance for essentially volunteer organizations. So it gives hopefully the new executive coordinator the opportunity to go and do cool things rather than make her sell it. And so how do we effectively manage the growth? Yeah, I used to be a county planning commissioner. First question is always, if you do something, if you plan on doing something, consider what would happen if you do nothing. And you want to make sure that everything is better than you do. So this is our first recommendation. And then again, point is moot because we did that hire. And there was some discussion about providing some compensation to people in the planning areas, and we dropped that as a concept. This was something that Steve put together like in 10 minutes. I just want to make sure this is not a proposed organizational chart. This is just something that we were playing with. It was not a proposal. It was just an example of the way things might go. And again, it's something that Steve put together very quickly. Okay, one of the lines issues of contention was the idea of span of control. I will take the main help on this because my background in incident command, not an intent to control. So the idea is to have these planning areas as a loose configuration of commonalities at this point to align with the ones that are identified in the CWPP. And it doesn't mean that people can't cross over, but because there's so much stuff going on with 31, 32, and maybe 33 at this point, associate fire councils that having some sort of regional approach would be appropriate. Yeah, they're not, they're not zones at this point, there's no intent to control. Just feel that this is would be a good way, for people to work together, especially when we look at larger grant proposals and things like that. Funding organizations like to see, like organizations need multiple disciplines working together. Any questions on this one? Okay. Moving right along. This is a large part of the conversation is, again, as the different organizations, OWOPR and CAL FIRE and other folks become more involved in the work we've been doing, it comes back to this volunteer organization and that, as they say, to ensure volunteers are the primary source of organizational improvement. That meaning that this is more of a ground up organization rather than top down. And for example, we talked about possibly in future meetings looking at some of these recommendations and having this group, the larger group, talk about ways we can implement that. Any questions, comments, or thoughts on this? Then we talked about we want to be able to provide the associate fire safe councils with as much funding and flexibility as possible, right? But we also know that we have to be responsible with the use of the funds. So just kind of reconfigure this based on a lot of wordsmithing and just say that we can make this as much as possible as locally directed, but it needs to be able to withstand scrutiny and an audit, and that would make Janet happy.
Thank you.
Questions on that? No.
Can you explain possible and available?
Possible and available. Yeah, if we get the money, we're gonna push it down like we did with the Greenways did. So if we have some, like sometimes the funding is specifically for this, right? But if we get some funding for that gives us a broader array of possibilities to use it, rather than us determining, at the executive board what to do with it. Often we just say, your council better and how to best use that money. But often they come with strings. So we try to have as minimal strings on it. That answer your question?
Sort of.
Sort of.
That's pretty good call. I think we'd like to see a more dependable source of very modest funding for our state councils.
So would we.
Okay, how do we make that different?
Well, we talked about a number of things and that's probably a good source of a workshop for everyone. Hey, did I weasel out of that one?
Yeah, let Tamara talk. This has been, and Bill, your question is spot on. This has been the source of a lot of discussion as to how do we really make the Fire Safe Council that value added back to all of the councils. And so every opportunity that we can find where there are broader grants or funding sources that aren't specific to a project or a specific planning area. And Tamara's been working hard on some thoughts there. And
Well. Like.
We're talking about what are ways to support fire safe councils with our basic, like our Zoom subscription. I don't know, MailChimp or things like that, right? So that we're all using that with good benefit. So we're absolutely talking about that and would welcome, encourage you to give suggestions on that too, because I have my ideas for my own fire safe council, but that's all my idea.
And if I could add to that first, and we are doing what we can to provide assistance to associate fire safe councils. For example, we're covering all of the insurance for all of your events. We are paying for all of the Umpqua costs related to you having online access to all of your accounts. We're looking for opportunities where we can pay for those things for you from here so that you're not burdened with
Websites.
those activities as well. And we're looking at the website too. Tamara has some funding for the website. We're updating our website, and our website has pages for all of you if you so choose to use that. So we are working on finding ways where we can do that to unburden associate fire safe councils from some of those costs.
Okay, so in the back first,
Yeah, it would be helpful, especially for you, each one fire safe council to have some fee money, some dollar amount. Actually, do. Other things like software for sending emails, for setting up webinars. Communication, the population will take care.
So we do out of Title III for every brand new associate council, they get $500 in their first year. It's probably not enough, but it allows everybody to do their fictitious name statement, get their bank statement set up. And then annually, there's $200 that comes right out of Title III for every fire safe council.
it's probably good to remind folks that that is available.
Well, and in fairness, everybody, we just literally over the holiday, I finished, updated a Title III document because it's been one of the bigger challenges. It comes from the Secure Rural Schools Act, and there's requirements, and it's very narrow as to what the federal government allows counties to use the money for. And we've been very fortunate that it's been able to be targeted for FireWise and Fire Safe Council level work, but it's been very confusing. And so we just finished an updated document that just getting final eyes on it, but it talks about the $500, the $200, and and what's eligible under that. So we'll get that out to everybody here very, very quickly.
I think you must be late stage, so. I just remind people that previous Cal Fire Forester for AEU, he used to encourage us, and we never ever did it for the state grants to add in this kind of money into those grants. So you have to.
Yes.
Never mind.
I don't think we've done it enough in the past, but absolutely going forward, we're
Okay,
where we
because
can.
all
to put that in, right? Yeah.
I mean, no question, we appreciated the 500 up front and 200, but Serrano, if we have a big community, we have 4,700 homes, so we have a lot of need for communication money, money to support webinars, and $200 is just not enough. And we're not asking for much. I think we can conduct our business with like $1,200 a year, and that's for a big community.
So 14 of you, I believe is the number, are getting those kinds of things in the grant. And Tamara went out with that request to all of you last year. And that grant was approved by the State Fire Safe Council. And so whatever the council's asked for, and much of that is going towards outreach. A number of you had asked for website development, and we decided that the county council would fund all of the update to the current website. So that money that folks that had asked for that is all going back into whatever else you want to spend that on that's consistent. So that's the going forward. Those are the kind of grants we want, these broader grants that provide the kinds of things you're talking about, Bill. But the point is, everyone's going to have to be at the table when Tamara comes out with the request, because that's how we're going to get this money down to you. Is we got to know what it is you need and want so she can get it in the request. So again, a number of you are going to get some good stuff coming this year, and we're just going to keep working on that for more. So come to the grant when Tamara hosts the grant sessions after these meetings periodically. Those are the kinds of things she's going to want to be soliciting thoughts from you all on. Yeah.
At any moment, feel free to email me your thoughts. Collect them.
Very good. Any other thoughts? This is good. And then, again, maximizing those liaison functions. Someone had asked that so far be added into that. But one of the things that when Jen comes on, as the executive coordinator, she'll be probably attending a lot of meetings, but also to free up other people to, that, we have, especially with volunteers, we have a limited amount of time in every individual. So we want to make sure that we are actively engaged in all the activities that relate to our universe writ large. And I think this is having executive coordinator on gives us a great opportunity to really maximize that. Plus, moving right along. Again, no changes here. I think everyone here recognizes that we are the best conduit to our local, to the communities, and wherever possible, we're going to provide both funding for the entire area and for the individual associate fire safe councils to be that liaison, to be the primary organization that works with our communities in terms of fire safe activities. Talk about this in rather this information in outreach and education. I think one of the things that is really stands out is the high quality of the work, the workbook, the home assessment work that we've done, and put in here a strive to maximize substance and engagement. Really to make sure that the work we do, I think we've already done, but that it is content rich and it engages the audience that we've identified, often the community and other groups like that. But it was just something that we saw some of the comments, and it was the best way to synthesize it. Okay? Cliff?
Yeah, just a quick question on that.
Can you hit the button on your microphone so the folks at home can hear?
Okay, just a quick comment on that. Talk to Alice afterward about this. Relative to the outreach program, much of the outreach, in fact, virtually all of it's done electronically. So it would be very helpful to have a library of sorts of images and other content that we share to all the councils. So when we're doing our outreach and communication, we don't have to redo it in time.
Yes.
Well, and Paul, to that point, and she can share it when she gets to her part of the presentation, but I also know, because we're working with her on it, Dorothea's OWOPR, Tanya's been developing a library of images as well that she's making available to the public outreach folks and all that. So definitely something we're trying to collaborate on to just to that point, because we want local content, not just the standardized things out there. We want things that have the El Dorado County flavor. So I'll let Tanya chat more about what she's doing with that at her presentation, but I'm glad you brought that up.
How to why that would be useful. Like if it's useful for one council, it would probably be useful for other council. And it's in here a little bit further. Any questions or thoughts on this item? Alice, anything?
No.
Yeah. And then advocacy again. Just want to make sure we want to be nicely aggressive in work we do, and make sure that we don't step outside of the bounds of our 501c3 status. And fiscal stewardship. Like this one would say. Provide best practices such as how do I for the fire safe councils on various topics and things such as annotated checklists and things that we learn. Again, those best practices that we can share not only within ourselves, but I know a number of us really want to strive that we want to be the poster children, the good poster children, where people outside of our area look to us as examples, and because that enhanced our standing, and with an enhanced standing, we would hopefully get better funding. And then this kind of goes to the question is, we are almost entirely dependent on grants. And grants are fickle, and they ebb and flow over time. And in the long term, not now, is really seeking if there is a way that we can be masters of our own fate, and have some form of sustainable, local funding. Again, maybe one of those things where we sit down as a group and, try to come up with things like this in the long term. That being said, we are doing pretty well. We're able, to, offer a position with at least 4 to 6 years worth of funding, and that's just today with what we have. And then, came up with a final one, saying, let's do an annual review of the strategic plan and revise as appropriate. And I would really like to have other people, rather than the ones who were this round, to do it in the future, not to weasel out of it myself, or maybe a little bit. But just put fresh eyes on.
Can't help himself.
Perspective. Organization would be enhanced. And we have other people, maybe some people carry over, but new people to engage on this, and we'll do this, continue to make it better. Any questions on this edition? Here's a little QAQC here. So now it's Georgia City, and they say here, I just bring back that mission. Hopefully this will help us to meet this mission. I think it's more like in Pirates of the Caribbean, the Pirates Code. It's more like what? Guideline.
Stage.
I just, and I did he planted that with you, Janine. I think you all know Paul's going to be involved in the next one because he can't actually help himself. So
Full package thoughts? Tell us.
microphone.
Thanks. I can see that you guys really did take a lot of the comments and you did make changes and stuff. That's appreciated. On the earlier ones, you asked a question, but you didn't say comments. I'm going to comments on some of the earlier side.
Sure.
The one thing still that gnaws at me is the regional thing. Because I feel like if we are trying to support volunteers, if we're trying to strengthen community linkages, if we're trying to improve the organizational and project management, I don't feel like adding that extra layer of bureaucracy, it somehow tries to connect certain of us. I mean, we are connecting on our own. Sometimes we connect with one, sometimes we connect with another. And I can understand it totally for grants. But other than that, I feel like it's not helpful if we're supporting volunteers making things like that.
That's, there's some validity to that. In my opinion, we have 32, maybe 33 associate fire safe council, and it's often easier to manage. I understand, that the more layers of complexity, more layers can add to more complexity, but if it's done right, can actually lessen that complexity. It depends on how it's implemented. Yes, sir.
Again, the beauty of the Fire Safe Council is that this is where we get our community engagement. This is where we actually are connected. And the bigger the Fire Safe Council, I know you saw it in the order, the bigger the Fire Safe Councils are, the harder it is for them to get a high percentage of people showing up at their event. The smaller ones, like Gallagher Estates, which is the tiny one, they get a really huge percentage. And so I think the smaller we are, we shouldn't lose that by trying to make us Delta region. We should, keep that small community engagement. I think really hard.
Yeah. Well, there are going to be planning areas in the CWPP, and it doesn't include anything. Okay. Angel?
Yes, I just want to say to each and every one of you that under no circumstance did I ever hear that a region was going to limit a fire safe council in their individuality, that it was not for a control purpose, it was to build capacity. And it doesn't prevent Strawberry, which is my fire safe council, with working with Oak Hill. And my last comment is, if we ever get to the point where you feel like that's happening and there's so much bureaucracy that you can't take it, you can call me on it. I just feel comfortable and confident in what we're doing here today, that that's not going to happen. But if it does, you guys know my number.
And, you know, we're looking at your revision. Any other comments? So. Turn it back over to Ken to, entertain a motion.
So remember where we all left it. We had several iterations of the original set of recommendations that folks took comments on. The group, the strategic planning group went back, took those comments, made the adjustments as Alice was pointing out, incorporated those. Then the executive board, along with several members of that working group, also reviewed that again this last meeting, and the intent was to bring this back today for any further questions, and then ideally, you know, bring it before you all for a vote. And I think what's important to, and it's been pointed out several times, and it's just worth repeating, is their guidelines. And this very last slide, or the one before it, says it's to be reviewed every year. And I think sort of to Angel's point and to Alice's point and to others, it's, let's see how these things work. We've got to have a plan to work from, and it's going to really help us as Jennifer starts diving in to help us and we start working on things. None of this is cast in stone, but it's giving us some direction to work on to try to make things better for everyone. And so I think we just keep that in mind. Don't feel bad at all, to Angel's point about coming back and saying, I don't think this is working, or could we look at this concept differently? I think the idea is we're just trying to figure out the best ways to support all 32 councils on the ground, 33 hopefully here shortly, with the minimal amount of bureaucracy, because again, that's what this organization brings. And that's why our partner agencies really like this, is because we are able to do things at the bottom level, at the grassroots level, that others can't. And so to that point, we don't want to lose that. So again, what's out on the table today, and I want to put it for everyone, we want to approve the recommendations as presented going forward for this year, and then we'll review them again this time next year, and we'll do that every year thereafter.
Can you open to a motion to adopt this?
Correct. Yes, looking for a motion to adopt.
I'll do it.
So David, there's a motion to adopt. Do I hear a second? Tamara seconds the motion. Any conversation, any discussion further? Okay, all those in favor of approving the recommendations as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that's all right. We'll register Alice in opposition. Great. I want to thank that group, and I want to thank everybody who commented and engaged on it, because it's the only way the organization moves forward and continues to respond to what your needs are, is to be able to have you all engaged and do that. And so again, thank you to everybody that worked on this process. Okay, get this back to there. Hang on. It's all this technology. Perfect. Great. So item 5B, new fire safe council formation. So I want to turn it over to Angel. Present that.
Thank you, Ken. Today, before the Board of Directors, we have a new application for El Dorado Hills Heritage to become a new fire safe council. And that map was included in your board package. Today, I would like to introduce Cord Wagner to tell you a little bit about his council and safety goals, and then we will consider his application.
He's good.
Behind him. Sorry.
Yep.
south side of 50 off Latrobe. We have about 55 homes, age restricted, mostly seniors, a lot of living truck. You have people that are already getting non-renewals, and the same thing is faced by a lot of the people in your fire safe council. So our goal is to be able to help them learn through being part of the council and share with them, because those that you better prepare for wildfire. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Corey.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah, so just confirming all the paperwork, everything's been filed. So as you know, there's a lot of process behind the scenes, and it's just clarifying with Angel in her role as the secretary that they have the proposed Fire Safe Council has presented all the appropriate paperwork and filed it. So we have all the documentation and they've met the minimum requirements. And so any further discussion or comments or questions? David.
First, I'd like to have the privilege of making the motion to accept the NH81 court to talk about Operation Rubicon again.
Okay. That sounds great. I think Dave's going for the record of number of motions that made. So, so yes, we have a motion on the table by David Zielinski to approve the formation and acceptance of the Heritage Fire Safe Council into the County Fire Safe Council network. Ernie Laurie seconds. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposition? A unanimous vote. Congratulations for your work and welcome. Motion passes. Okay, moving down to item 6. We have no old business on the agenda today. Informational items, chair's report, a couple of things. We don't have, oh, yes. We're going to get to that part. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I was kind of right on my chair's list with you here. A couple of things. One is the we don't have a after meeting presentation today. That neither the grants committee nor the CWPP group is meeting today. But of course, folks are encouraged to stay and network and chat. We really want to start utilizing the rest of those afternoon meetings when we don't have to have a CWPP workshop, is to really starting to get back with our programs, our grants meetings, other things to really network, all of our councils and all of you together. Having said that, we definitely want to get back on the track of having the brown bags. We know we got busy and had to defer some of those. So I think Angel's going to talk about that when she gets to her report. So keep that in mind. Yes, the audio visual. You and I are somewhat frustrated by sort of the process because it hasn't been nearly as easy as we thought to combine the in-room audio issue with the virtual Zoom connectivity. And we've been meeting with professionals in the business. We've had them out here over the holidays. You and I spent several hours with them in the room looking at different options. We've budgeted over $15,000, so we're not afraid to do the right thing here. But the challenge we're finding is it's the connectivity between an in-room audio and the virtual with what we're trying to do here is a bit technical, and it's extremely expensive from what we're learning. And so the technicians are still struggling a bit to try to find us an option to meet our needs here due to the challenging acoustics of the room. So I don't know, Hugh, do you want to chat about kind of what we're doing right now, recognizing we want to get this fixed sooner than later. We're just trying to do it the right way and not get something that doesn't meet our needs.
Yeah, that is really where we are. I'm in communication with the engineers and the technicians on these systems pretty consistently. As Ken said, we did have them come out. They did bring a system with them that we put here that essentially what it would do is it would eliminate these microphones. We wouldn't have that, and that works fine. But the problem with that is if you try to tie to that an audio system so everybody in the room can hear like when I'm speaking right now, it just throws those systems into, they go crazy. And so trying to figure that out and trying to do that, the engineers are continuing to work on it. And like you say, Ken says, we have this a lot of money, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of money and only get a half a system. So we're working on that, and I'm hoping that we'll have something, within the next few months at the latest. Because I want it as bad as you do, because there's a lot of uses for it here. And I got a call, I got an email yesterday from David, who the post commander here, they're having a meeting next month, and they were hoping the system would be up, not for the Zoom part, but for the audio part. But they can use it. Just be patient. Hopefully we will get there one way or another.
Thank you, Hugh, and thanks for the question. So that's all I have for now. With that, we will defer to the vice chair report. And Dorothy conveniently got on a plane and flew to the southern hemisphere today. So Angel is going to, and as only Angel can eloquently deliver, Dorothy's vice chair report. Angel.
Site development to launch the updated site next month. The website has a fresh new look along with expanded information. The new website allows us the ability to expand our social media informational platform and to reach community with current information and resources. Training for interested associate fire safe councils to update their new web pages will be scheduled. A training date will be announced. All your existing information from the old website has migrated over. Stay tuned for more information about this exciting new website. Thank you, Angel, for reading this.
So Angel said no questions. So thank you, Angel. Thank you. All right, we'll roll right into Secretary's report.
The subject matters are going to come from you. So if you have a topic or a subject matter that you would like to discuss during a brown bag meeting, please send those to me with maybe some sort of idea of what it is that your goal is that you're looking for. I do see part of the recommendations. There's a how-to. So how to what you guys need. And then in this room, we have so many people that have so much experience. We may tap them to develop some sort of a presentation to communicate that. And just as an example, we can one brown bag may be discussing donations. How do you get donations? And what do you spend them on, etc. So that would just be an example, and we would put something together and share that. A brown bag would take place after the Fire Safe Council monthly meeting here in this room. And the idea would be you bring your lunch and we would just roundtable discuss. And that's the concept. So send me your ideas and we'll put them together and see what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Treasury report, Janet.
Here you go.
Good morning, everybody. Lots to talk about from the treasurer's report today. You don't have reports in front of you, and the reason for that is with January starting on a Wednesday, it's very difficult to get invoices in. Our contractors have until the 5th working day of the month, so we didn't get invoices in until middle of last week, and by the time we get them to our bookkeeper, and she got them back to us yesterday. So the timing is not such that we will have you will get the treasurer's report for January until that. We'll combine them and do a January-February report next month. But the timing of the new year was not conducive to getting reports out in a timely manner. We are continuing with our audit. Vaughn Johnson is fully engaged in our annual audit. We've had a couple of discussions about our organization, and her initial comments, I mean, she's super supportive of everything that we're doing. She does have some some thoughts about what, we've grown from a little organization to now this bigger business. And we were a cash basis organization, meaning we didn't record our expenditures until we paid them. And it is her opinion, I think, and based on the discussions that we've had, that she's going to recommend that we convert to an actual accrual basis, generally accepted accounting principle, accrual basis, and particularly for our funders, that will allow them, David's happy, I know, that will allow them to get a better feel for accounts receivables or deferred income that we have that we don't really report now on a cash basis. So I'm having discussions with her on that, and I've also initiated discussions with Pat Turner's office, who does our taxes, and our bookkeeper, Linda Parks, on how we might implement that. And I wouldn't recommend that we do that until July 1st. We do that as a beginning of the year. All of our grants now require us to have an annual audit, so this will be an annual event for us. And for the first time, she has requested an audit of one of the associate council bank accounts.
Pick me.
So,
I am so honored.
see what happens when you're the big one. So don't be surprised in the future. And so for Mark, I came to him and I said, I need a list of every invoice that you pay. I want to know everything that came in and everything that came out. He was gracious enough to provide me very quickly a list of that. And she will draw a sample and do some testing on that. But so don't be surprised in the future. Please share with your treasurers that is obviously a probability, not a possibility. Thank you, Mark. I also we have completed our taxes for last year. Since I realized that it's been since November that we talked. Our taxes were completed and they were filed. We had an extension for those, so they were filed timely with our extension. We have updated and we'll be paying for our charitable trust this month, which we turn our taxes in for part of. I have requested from all of your from you and your treasurers tax information for 1099. So anytime we spend more than $600 a year cumulatively for the calendar year, cumulatively to a vendor, we need to issue them a 1099. And I know that I may already have that information in your P&L, but what I don't have is it in a consolidated way. So thank you for reissuing information to me that I may already have, but I would have to go dig through it. It's much easier if I have you provide it to me in a consolidated way with your vendor's tax ID and the amount we paid for. And most of you have already submitted. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. I have an outstanding question from Mark on which I'm still trying to get an answer on, but if you haven't submitted it, the end of this week is your date. We are in the process of closing out, and Tamara can talk more about it, the California Fire Safe Council DSpace grant. We have used most of that money somehow. I think we managed to use all of it, and but that is closing out. I don't know when that reimbursement will be. We are currently waiting for reimbursement for almost $200,000 from them. So when we close it out, we'll just get it all in one fell swoop. Hopefully it won't be months. On the similar note, the California Fire Safe Council Education and Outreach, many of you have submitted reimbursement requests to me. We have not received our advance from them. And so we are waiting for that advance before I can issue you reimbursements. If that is a problem, because I know some of you have paid on personal credit cards, please let me know. Finally, our chipper grant with CAL FIRE closes out in March. So we are in the process of maximizing our invoices to them. And I think we're going to be super close on maximizing that grant as well. We still have some chipping funds available through Stevens Authority through the end of June. And we're looking to see if we can get an extension on that. And then we also have our AQMD chipping money. So we are not out of chipping money, but we are closing out our largest grant. I have updated, as you know, David doesn't like negative balances on our reports that I issue to all of you. So I'm in the process of updating our report that you will see, I'm updating the budget amounts, doing the mid-year budget adjustment. The largest adjustment that you will see is in our administrative services, and that is with the addition of our new executive coordinator. I've added money for Search Pros for that salary. We hope that there is a grant that's going to pay at least half of it, and not knowing that at this point, I put the full amount in there. So our budget, David, will be going up by $55,000.
That's all.
Okay. With that, and a report, any questions? Start with David.
Ancient, oh, sorry. Ancient CPA grant, so it could be wrong now. My memory was that corporations, that we didn't have to give a 10-9 to corporations. It was the unincorporated businesses we had to do it for. Can you check that out? Am I right? Yay, Tamara says I'm right. That might make it. That might make it easier for other people.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Alice.
Oh.
We had a question on the receipts. So for receipts that are being stored by the individual fire safety councils, is digital good enough, or do you need hard copies of all those?
If you have a digital copy of like a receipt in a PDF version, that's fine. I don't think that she's asking for hard copies.
Thank you.
Question.
Under the new website, could there be perhaps a treasurer's section that you have with all the tax ID of the usual suspects? Like Eldorado Disposal, where we get our green waste big bin to throw the stuff in, so all of us are not calling Eldorado Disposal and asking them for their tax ID number.
They're probably incorporated, so you're probably okay.
Could we add those instructions and incorporate it as?
Yes, because I will confirm that, and yes, we'll go look into doing something like that. Back to Alice. Okay. End of questions.
No other questions.
Thank you for since I went through that.
Great. Thank you, Janet. As always, lots happening there. Okay, partners reports, and I will try to go through the audience here and online, make sure I'm not missing anybody. I don't see anybody from BLM today. Okay. I know CAL FIRE is busy. all of our usual suspects, I know what they're doing and they're well engaged. So they definitely get a pass. Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience, OWAPers. So we have Tanya today for a report, and also today we've added Greg Stanton. Many know Greg. Greg is working with the county on biomass coordination, and what Greg is willing to do is periodically, whether it's quarterly or as needed, Greg will report out. I know that's been an interest for some folks, and so to try to go right to the source and have Greg provide that information as needed, he's going to provide an update on the county's efforts going on in biomass and in his world today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tanya.
Editing mode right now. We steering committee got together on. We went through the recommended actions for the entire day, and just went line by line, make sure that they made sense, they were accurate, change it. So that is back in the consulting plan. So we make those changes according to what we came up with sometime in February. We should get a draft back. Edit fire safety council first crack at that. What edit they want to find into or so that's where we are on the big mode right now. We have a start up in inspection. That will be starting up in the Hank area first workshop for that is in February. We are to Alice to, 2 or 3 Wednesdays. Around that time. Yeah. Much listening as we can, so if we're out there doing inspections, it's a good opportunity for the community. So that's being set up. We have a lot of plans and are doing a lot of this part of outreach. We did my California Fire Safety Coordinator grant that ended the end of December. We purchased for the fire safety company to have all the raised flyers, just thousands of raised flyers coming up, right? In English and in Spanish. We know that everybody does watch TV, that's fine. Also have to raise that you have community, so have all the flyers that you ever want. So I will bring them at every meeting, to keep them, to take off. Also, we printed out thousands of workbooks. So we have a lot of really big things. Of course, we have them, the Fire Safety Council has them, so no shortage of work. One of the we're going to try to accomplish here is making it real estate, which will include the workbook and other resources so that real estate are taking it down every new homeowner gets. And all the other resources. So it'll also be, we're also trying to develop a like a fact sheet for realtors on what the special state requirements need, whatever. So we're going to be doing a lot of that. Our inspectors go out and just like the assessors, and they go out and they look facts than anybody else in our, and so we want to make sure that everybody they're contacting getting a work. So we have a ton of work to get done, and we're also doing a lot of work to get them out. It's like mentioned about the website in order to have access. If we had pictures on the website so that it's very local, our website to reflect where we are. I do have, but she basically just gave me here's what the tab. We can get a picture along with it. Ever we don't have so far, we're going to go out. Picture. So we'll have a library for right, just let them know and make sure we have so we gotta go out, like Mark let us do his house with home parking and sort of we've got some really good examples of home parking and defensible space so far, but we're trying to get more. So anyway, we have a lot of and I think that
people are making sure the workbooks get fine.
I mean, that is, yeah, because.
I mean, you got the workbook for the main library.
We already have.
We already have.
I already have.
Yeah.
Council people can help send folks before and after work is done or home parking is done. That really helps people see what possible.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, whatever, if you guys are doing out doing questions, you can get those too in terms of library before and after COVID. And along the same lines, we met as a geographer. The geographer that some years is moved on to a different job, and so we but that is one of the things that's talked about in our meeting. Really wanted before and after.
Just kind of so you know, something that trying to work is one of the biggest barriers for bigger fire welfare is enclosed units. So I take this board after, and the only thing that my house have is it needs from now on and have them all off, all repainted. There's, it's smooth as can be underneath. I'm gonna submit that to the health and fire safety. Fair plan, thank you. And see if they will accept that as a mitigating measure for enclosed needs. Because I love everything. So if I get that discount, I think that's gonna be huge to a lot of people. I really run into themselves. I mean, I see some incredibly well-maintained plans and they've done everything. Only thing they won't do. And I'm hoping that this will be acceptable to mitigating measure.
Yeah, so you find out and you share it with the group. I have an image letter. I'm also working with Dorothy getting a bunch of those images. So if you're talking about on our website, or are you talking about separate on the whole one? Dorothy had requested the pictures with her, right? Okay, so we all are putting on the two, and you are, this is great.
I'm not, I'm just giving it to.
She's just collecting photos.
This is great.
I think, yeah, and I think the logistics, and I'm glad you brought it up, Alice, is sort of how do we access the image libraries? I think it's going to be what the pictures that are going on the website are just the pictures. It's not all of the pictures. It's just those that are making the website look good. So over time, that's something we'll have to work between the council and OWOPR as to, you know, how do we share the libraries and have access to that? So we'll talk more about that. No, I agree, but logistically, we have to figure out, rather than just calling Tanya all the time saying, I need these pictures. We'll work on the logistics of how people can actually physically look at the library. No, he's not. We'll work on that later, but just know that's the intent. Yeah, in the meantime, call her.
Honestly, gonna be one time there was.
I don't. Yeah, we can talk offline, but yeah, there's not going to be any separate discussion on the modeling. I think we have a, yep.
We need a authorization for a permission to use photos from people's private property. Does one exist?
Yeah, again, I think it's a good point. It goes back to my comment about legit. We're being very deliberate about the ones we're providing to the website. But yes, we have to think through all of that, how we share pictures and what the implications and all of that are. And you're absolutely right. It's kind of why I brought up the logistics of how we look at those.
Did we see the results of the survey? I think we talked before. Is that possible?
Yeah, there's the. When that is made available. Anything else?
Thank you, Tanya.
Good morning, everyone. Greg Stanton. Thank you, Ken.
Morning, Greg.
Ken, I'm.
Yeah, I'm failing this.
That's what I should say, but so far the software was a collaborative biomass working group. I'm working very closely with that group. With Norma Santiago, former supervisor, with the board of supervisors, and specifically with Supervisor Department of Turnbull, who are the board designated ad hoc members for biomass. And I think that, and before I go any further, I think it's the weather, but I have a Myers lemon tree that's going crazy. So if any of you like Myers. Has the potential there, where you see moving the needle regarding biomass utilization is the receipt of a grant from USDA Rural Business Development. It's Rural Business Development Grant from USDA. That grant, $75,000, is funding a contract with a company called EcoStrat. And EcoStrat has been recognized by the USDA and U.S. Forest Services report published March of 2024. I never forget to remember the name. The plan to enable a bioeconomy in America. They're out of Canada, but they're doing work throughout all of North America. And what they have launched is called the Bioeconomy Development Opportunity Zone in Michigan. And what they do basically is come into your county or your region, and they evaluate the readiness of your county or region to expand its bioeconomy. And they issue you a grade. It's kind of like a Better Business Bureau grade. It's a triple B or a double A. And the higher the grade, triple B or higher, indicates that the region is poised to expand its bioeconomy and is low risk for investment. And it's really meant to be an economic driver. Placer County, Nevada County are both going through the same process right now. We should have that ready by sometime around May or June. We're in discussions with representatives of Placer at the staff level, Representative Placer and Nevada County, to see how we can leverage as a region the results of this analysis. And I should mention that there's always a question about what about the former sawmill site in Camino? Well, the focal point of this evaluation is that property or that collection of properties. We are looking at highlighting 177 acres of SPI property that SPI has expressed a willingness to consider.
Good way to put it, Greg.
And I think county advance these projects with venture capital, developer capital. EcoStrat boasts, I believe, 1.5 billion in combined venture capital associations with other companies. Of course, I can't think of one right now. Goldman Sachs. And so I think that's probably one of the significant occurrences this year that will really help us. A couple other projects I'll highlight. One is Gold Seal Industries. It'll probably be the first one to actually put something on the ground in Colorado County. Gold Seal, over a dozen years ago, was working on a technology, a mobile technology, and has, I think, perfected that to the point they're ready to deploy. They're hoping to deploy this demonstration unit in the Colorado Burn Scar by the end of Q2 of March 2025. It's been delayed a couple of times, but I think they're pretty confident they're going to meet that deadline this time. They have partnered with a company called Market, which is a vegetation management company to help with the source material in the forest. They partnered with U.S. Forest Service, with Blue Forest, and with the other company. Anyway, but the point is that that's going to be something that'll hit the ground within the Colorado Burn Scar this year. The second project that's the next closest to fruition is South Papa Refuse in South Papa Basin. They have a very small combined power demonstration project. They're working with Wisewood Energy, and they are hoping to offset basically almost 100% of their whole electric and gas costs to operate that facility. Right now, there's a moratorium from TRPA, the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, on bioenergy projects in the Tahoe Basin. They've allowed STR to submit an application and move forward with the demonstration project. And the significance of that, even though it's not going to make a dent in terms of forest restoration and utilizing materials, very small scale, but the significance is that if they can prove up this project, prove that it's not a scary, polluting technology, then it opens the door for other projects in place, and we can have a distributed network throughout the Tahoe Basin of these types of units. So those are some of the examples of what's occurring, and to the best of my ability, I'll answer any questions you have. Mr. Lewis, how did I know you would be one?
Greg, I think just a lot of cold steel, will there be a product like biochar coming out of it, or is just an application in the field?
Thank you for that question. I apologize. So the mobile technology converts biomass to a precursor biofuel, to biochar, and to medical grade water based on the feedstock that's been on it. And I forgot to mention too, is Oakfield, Fire State Council here in the bottom? So, John has a beta. So, John has, developed a company called Forager Fuels. I was just introduced to John, just a month or two ago, right before a grant was due. And, John is working on another mobile technology, converting biomass to mobile technology, converting biomass to, hydrogen. And I'm meeting with, John today, actually, to talk about it further. But yeah, it's a one step forward, two step back. That's 3 years. And,
I think we have one question here, Greg Gurney.
Morning, quick question. Can you expand on what you stated about the Eldor Fire Burn Scar mobile unit?
I can only tell you that this unit will consume about 1,000.
No, let's put it the other way around. Are you going to involve the public in determining if it's appropriate to be put at a location?
That's what U.S. Forest Service partnership comes in. And that's being done with the U.S. Forest Service and federal highway. It is very small scale. By the way, they've already been issued a permit to the Air Quality Management District. And this technology, we've been told, has zero emissions. And that's what the Air District will be validating. And it's a demonstration project. It's not a large facility. It's a small scale. It comes in.
Okay, can you tell us who in the U.S. Forest Service that you've gotten this permission to install this mobile unit?
I don't have that information today.
Well, then it's the whole public that would like to know before it goes installed someplace.
Ernie, we'll follow up because I know this has come up. Yeah, we'll work with Greg, and again, that's why I wanted Greg to come, so we hear right from the source what's out there. Greg's a wealth of information, but we will get the information out and follow up so that folks that want to understand, we'll make sure we get the right contact information from Greg and get that out to folks so you have that. Thank you. I think we had one question back here, Greg. Great. No questions on Greg. Thank you. And I think we'll just stay in connection with Greg, and periodically he'll give us updates as there's, things to, as he says, it's a very slow moving process, but there are benchmarks. And today that was a huge piece of information. Thank you. All right. I see we have Chief Cordero in the back, El Dorado County Fire Chiefs Association.
Good morning, Chief Cordero, Fire Chief, I'm also the treasurer of the Fire Chiefs Association. Right now, locally, we're a little thin with the activities down Southern California. Which we were about restriction in California. Extract really kind of put it down. Does have a little bit of impact on us locally because typically this time of year is when a lot of fire diseases are doing annual training and some of that picture because we should be. Sure.
Yeah.
So, but we're working through that. Obviously, it's done. So, we also are in this kind of getting the planning stages for our pension space inspections for all our companies. Working with our other agencies, Cal Fire, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page as what we do inspection where we try to capture the biggest pain for the product. We've also got to our use this year to go off. We've got the toolkit, which is a really valuable tool on helping with the defensive space inspection. We really can see what was their doctor through those inspections. It gives them a common message. If you go across them, or as it happens. That's something that's a part of the jokes on message. So we're working on that. We should pick on listening to inspections in the next few months. And then a selfish play on Mike for County Fire in Diamond Springs. We're hosting some open houses for some fires you like. Last Saturday, we was station 25, to this Saturday, there will be a station 49. Going to, not station 49, and the following Saturday, we'll be the next station. So we should jump some time to. It went a great work.
Nice.
The toolkit is basically some guiding documents that was produced by the Obama that has gone out to all the agencies where we put our logo on it. That way, you know, whether it's one of our energy companies or the Garden Island, we're all getting that same information on it so that when we go out and do an inspection of your home, and you have conversations, us, this county, getting that same.
Do you hand it to the people being inspected, or does the ditch guy there with?
No, we just keep them.
Yeah, that's your turn.
No.
Thank you. Well, awesome.
She's gone, okay.
Quite excellent. New fire trucks, are they huge? Or they're basically small?
So the size of. That one's for your tradition. All of those will be respond bigger. A lot of the time, is the initiative. So it's something that take not only to our agency, the other agency, it's just around. Yeah, perhaps communities and version of them spending and design. They're not.
Hey, I thought there were some that were made specific for.
Well, type threes are, you know, like if we look at a fire. Should be some flower. But even those is. In a test can be a big conflict.
Very different.
And a lot of it again is emission.
Yep.
There's variations, ours are all change gas. They run from 98.
And that would be how many feet?
Ours are
8 people.
and that's the narrowest. Sure.
Now, that's really helpful when we're doing. In that, people can. Once they have to, right?
Yeah. I think we have one more good Mark here and then we'll go.
She kindly. It's on social media this one, so. If 19 was temporarily down staff. They said that they might, they're going to be able to 23, is that correct, or?
So unfortunately, it's station 19. Station 19 is. They have an internal stations, so stations. Basically, so on a temporary basis, we will get stations. They'll probably be there.
And they're still second due for Grizzly? And
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We got a question here.
Yes. We'll take a not taking a asking.
And I'm here.
Our agencies. For the most part. I know that there's a lot of discussion on that. What I said. Look at the water system. Locally in this county, Got one fire hydrant, we used maybe 7. So it's a 2, maybe rarely a third hydrant is being tapped. I don't believe, my personal opinion, that the system is this locally, we'll see for it. We're making the assumption we talk about 1,000, if they're flowing 50, 100, 500, at some point in time, there's going to be dimension difference. So sprinkler systems in buildings, very engineering package for 10% of heads to go off, water source coming in, we should get beyond that percent. And that was switching over this. So I don't know the ins and outs. You do a lot of stuff on what's not on this is happening, but just from my experience, at some point you're going to have to shoot to survive more happens in what was that?
That was perfect. It was a very good answer. I think we had a question here.
Okay. Trying to try to sustain growth. I think that's adequate. That's
Well, the team put a pair that were appearances kind of the standard, but obviously was better. So those are all basic we're equal strikes.
what
Okay, so if you want to reach out to our campus, which I believe is online, use next have a conversation with new people about with all the emails.
Awesome. Chief, thank you. Okay, next up, so we don't have Captain Lucas Shepard with us anymore. He's gone, but we do have,
Done with him. He's
we're done with him, but we do have Chief Lucas Shepard with us, and he is now the Fire Prevention Bureau Chief. And so congratulations to Chief Lucas, and thanks for staying with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I thought I was getting dismissed and you got the title wrong. I was like, okay.
And they wouldn't let me do that, so.
That's all right. Well, good morning, everybody. For FPOs, pretty down and dirty. We have our December holiday meeting, which is really more of an excuse to get together and break bread. And that's always a good time. So that's what our December meeting consisted of. But we do have new officers taking their spots this January. Our meeting is tomorrow, which is a good representation of El Dorado County Fire Rescue, El Dorado Hills as notable officer roles being filled. And that's always good to see. Spreads the wealth and kind of responsibility. It's never great when just one agency shoulders all of that. So kudos to the different agencies in the FPO group for stepping in and stepping up with those roles. We are working on a standards update. And for the folks in the room that may not be aware, when the fire code comes out, all of the fire prevention officers get together and take a look at that and glean or pull different aspects of that code. And that's how we create our standards. So we'll use NFPA guidelines and fire code to say what works for our agency, our district. And our goal at the FPO level is to be as consistent as we can, even though Strawberry is different than El Dorado Hills, that there be some semblance while still providing the ability for those agencies to be practically different, right? So working on updating those standards and getting everybody as much on the same page as we can to help homeowners, builders, everybody that deals with those standards. So good effort being put in there and a great common goal. And then just notably, we are already gearing up for the fair. So that'll be one of our committees that we ramp up and start getting a head start on, because that's super not fun if you started it in May. And other than that, happy to answer any questions, comments, or concerns, and appreciate your time.
Any questions for Chief Shepherd? All right, you nailed it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I did chat with Brad Stewart at the forest this morning. He does not have staff available for the same reason, so no report from the Forest Service. Courtney, the Resource Conservation District.
All you love with things.
Hi, everyone.
That's it.
As well as the Placerville Community Wildfire Resiliency Strategy. Been working on that for several months, and we have a presentation to the Placerville City Council coming up on January 29th at 5 o'clock at the Town Hall in Placerville. I have flyers in the back, so please spread the word. We would love all of you to attend. This is another opportunity to hear about the process, to find out what our results of all the study and the input and data that we have received. And we still have time to revise things if there's something that really needs to be input. So we absolutely would like to see as many people as possible at that meeting. So that will be going over the wildfire mitigation programs and strategies, current and proposed. We also have a project updates for Caldor Phase 2. We have begun operations in Phase 2. We are still accepting right of entries. It has been a little difficult in the Quincy Club and surrounding areas of the Caldor Burns Bar to get right of entries, absentee landowners, and for whatever reasons. We're still outreaching. So please, if you know someone who could benefit from that program, please have them contact me. Coloma Lotus Fuel Reduction Project. We are finishing up plant treatments on Scott Road and Sagebrush, and we're planning a little expansion areas for Terraview, Los Robles, Taipan, Boothville, and Arrowhead. And then in the South County Fuels Reduction Project, we're on Slug Gulch Road. Roadside fuel reduction has completed. And they are working along Omo Ranch Road in the area between Slug Gulch and Fairplay. And after that, they will be mobilizing into Outingdale for shaded fuel breaks work. There's a pretty big piece there. And after that, and that will begin on January 21st. And after that, they're going to start on shaded fuel break work in the Oak Hill area in the coming months. So it'll take a little while in this, what we're currently got going. And in Spanish Flat, operations began in the Spanish Flat South unit. ARC surveys in Spanish Flat North and BLM private land are to begin tomorrow. We have a lot of surveys done in that area, but there's some bits and pieces because of our expansion that need to be identified. In our Stevens Authority projects, the Volcanoville Roadside Fuel Reduction Project, we have ARC surveys and CEQA surveys. They've been completed. We're still flagging boundaries. In the Mosquito fuel reduction project, operations will likely begin on the south side of Shale Drive this week, And since we've got excellent weather, those should be beginning this week. And the Grizzly Flats, Stevens Authority project, we are still flagging properties and still flagging. When mine area, please, send them our way. Love to talk with them about the project. And then in Marshall Road, roadside fuel injection, contractor is continuing work this week and will continue until the project is finished. All of these projects, landowners are being notified individually. Each of the projects are getting regular update, email updates or phone calls, and we will continue to do so. So is there any questions? Yes.
I don't have a question, I have to comment.
Yeah. We're on it. We're on it.
Thank you, Courtney, because you have been so good about getting those updates out to all of our residents that are involved in it. And it's been really helpful to our board and to the residents. They did start the work up there and it has been incredible. We've been taking video and pictures. It's been really, really good. And please thank Mark and Alex also for making the magic happen. Thank you. I really just wanted to acknowledge all you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great to hear. And I'm glad that we're getting going on it. So yeah.
Please, project mosquito.
Well, which one? Well, we actually have two. The shape, sorry, there's another project in Mosquito that's the EFRT. So in the Mosquito Bird Star, we're flagging boundaries there, and we're pretty close to that project. That's how that's Mosquito. It's
Mosquito.
It's less near. Right. Yeah. Sorry. It's confusing. All have and right event creates project overview and fast. So take a look at that and give it back.
No, but I have a kind of possible.
Oh, no.
So if we want it, so Heather, if it's short, that's great. If it's more detailed, maybe we can do it offline.
He's been working in all times and he just lost his dog.
No, not that dog.
No, unfortunately, the dog went over the rim and it's nothing but a big rat's nest of down trees and berries. And it went into the canyon and if it goes down, it can't jump back over the logs. So I just wanted, he lost his dog.
Oh.
And I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. So people online, that Heather was just describing that our forester that works with our CD was out flagging a unit, and that's off of Sherman Way in Paula Pines
In the American River Canyon.
in the American River Canyon, and his faithful dog he thought was right behind him, and it is now not to be found. That's been about a week.
That dog's been honest on the tongue.
Yeah. If anyone knows John in the Paula Pines area, we would love to,
Great. Thank you for the report, Courtney. Okay, so no report from SMUD today. Just double checking that we don't have PG&E in the room. Okay. And I also don't see anybody from the Sheriff's OES this morning. Okay. Lastly, I do see Beth Dyer from the Bureau of Reclamation online. Beth, any update for the group this morning? We are not hearing you.
Okay.
All right, Beth, we'll move on. And if something comes up or you can fix your technical difficulties, we can certainly come back to you later in the meeting. With that, program reports, grants and funding. Tamara.
Just to reiterate, we applied for a grant to fund half of the cost of the executive coordinator position. I probably would have heard by now. It's supposed to start February 1st, so we should be hearing any day whether we get that grant. We asked for $53,000 and half of the position and the expenses around that. No, I'm sorry, it was from an organization out of Colorado.
Step to get some books. Okay.
I think there's a lot of kind of capacity building grants for fire related activities. We've applied a couple times before and haven't gotten the third time. But we should be hearing about that any day now. Also, as Janet mentioned, we're working on closing out the California Fire Safety Council Space Grant, which ended December 31st. So there's a lot of reporting with that grant. Janet and I have been discussing whether it's worth even applying to these guys anymore. They're mean and in their reporting and they never pay us.
I have a vote.
I mean, we haven't actually gotten the money. We've been final approval on our 2 CAL FIRE grants we've been talking about forever. So we've got the actual final paperwork and approval. That's a while. I've been saying in our e-board meeting, I mean, I've been doing grant for 30 years and the Fire Safe Council reporting that we have to do is absolutely insane. Like the fire, the forestry stuff. I just have not experienced this before. Like quarterly reports, super detailed. Everything you report has to exactly match your input before. I mean, it's crazy. No other funders, including other federal funders, are this kind of meticulous and detailed and time consuming. So I know I say that a lot, but I've just been kind of shocked at how much the reporting. So yeah. No, CAL FIRE, Forest Service.
CAL FIRE is easy.
I mean, any of these grants are really meticulous reporting and way too frequent in my opinion. Quarterly. I mean, why do these reports need to be quarterly? But anyway. See, Janet talked about the chipping. We're working on the chipping grants, trying to get an extension from the Forest Service. There's some kind of things we have to do to move it around. We're hoping they'll give us an extension because we need that to match our air quality management future plan. They're not paying enough. Anyway, it's complicated, but we're working on figuring out how to make those grants work and last through the rest of the year. Because we do have enough money, probably. We just have to make sure we can qualify and accept it. Upcoming grants that we have. We're working with the Bureau of Land Management to apply for a grant from I think it's a BLM grant called California Forest and Woodlands Resource Management that will support BLM doing the NEPA on BLM lands. We're starting on the divide with this grant, $1,000. So we've been contract with RCD to do the NEPA on the BLM lands, get them kind of pre-ready before we were applying for grants and work on plans. And then ideally, we would be able to take that and expand it to BLM lands, the rest of the western stuff, if it works. This was a BLM initiated grant. It came to us to be to apply for it, work with them and RCD, and so we'll get our 10% fiscal sponsor fee and then manage it. But hopefully won't have to do that much in guys this morning. CAL FIRE, I think we talked about last time, the CAL FIRE Forest Health Grant is due today. We were planning to apply on behalf of the Fire Safe Council for the Texas Hill project, but now that project is getting folded in, getting folded into the RCD is applying for the Forest Health Grant. So they're applying for $7 million for the Camino project that they applied for last year. And then the Texas Hill. So RCD is applying for that, but it still benefits us pretty dramatically, but we won't have to do the reporting. Great. We will also be applying for the Forest Service Community Wildfire Defense Grant. We can apply for up to $10 million for a project or projects that are in our CWPP. Unfortunately, they need to be in a CWPP that has been approved by your governing body. So our current CWPP won't be finished in time. The deadline is February 28th. So what we're looking at is how do we overlay our current priorities on projects that were identified in the previous CWPP. So with the priority of one way in, one way out roads, making sure we're doing work on the highest priority, most vulnerable roads in our county, laying over all those one way in, one way out roads with projects that were identified, with a map of the projects that were identified in the previous CWPP, figuring out what those roads are, and then doing kind of an all-court press on those roads. So it would be, and don't ask me what those roads are yet, we're working on the map, but to the planning areas, making sure that we're spreading the love in the 4 areas, maybe as much as we can. CWPP. So doing roadside clearance and then also defensible space assistance for every parcel on those one out roads. So whether you not just qualifying as low, in our program now, but every parcel, and then also looking at the potential for a strategic fuel break near those roads if it makes sense and if it's in the CWPP. And then also what are the water sources? So would it make sense to put a water tank or something else on those areas? So kind of a holistic approach to fire prevention mitigation on those roads. And we really are limited by the previous CWPP. I mean, it's going back through and trying to figure that out. It just showed me how much that CWP is limited for our current needs. So I am excited about the new CWPP, but we're working on it. And then if there's any money left over in the 10 million, asking for money, well, probably even if not, but at least we're talking about maybe $100,000 for Fire Safe Council support, whatever TBD, haven't totally figured that out, public outreach and other support for our Fire Safe Councils. And then if we have money left, more money in our defensible, well, we need money in our chipping program, so that's probably where we would put it into that too. So, we're working out the details. It's due the end of February. We had a meeting last week. Different people are figuring out the grant proposal, but that's the overall concept. And I'm happy to answer questions to the best of my ability at this point about that. And I think that's all I have for now. Yeah, any questions?
Hi, Kevin. A quick question. Seems like a year ago, but it was just a couple months ago. You hosted a grant meeting here and you were asking, or at least what I thought was looking at possibly writing a grant for planning purposes and concept papers. Where does that stand now? Because we would like to submit the concept paper when it's appropriate.
Thank you. I forgot to bring that up. So we've been alerted by CAL FIRE, I don't know if it was official, that the fire prevention grants will be coming out in July.
Yeah.
So, they pushed them off from this, you know, we were anticipating fire prevention grant deadlines to be, you know, February. They pushed it off to July, but I don't know that that's an official announcement. It's kind of a, you know, behind the scenes announcement. So we're hoping that the fire prevention grants will be announced for either coming out in July or deadline in July. So that would be where the planning grant would, where we were talking about.
Understood that. Are you wanting to try to coordinate these concept papers to push them up through Patrick and the AEU?
Yeah, I think that's what they want us to do is coordinate our effort and go to Patrick with our.
Okay, so this is it's not to be determined shortly.
Yeah, I have not been able to, I mean, my focus this month is quarterly report month, and the CWDG is the end of February, and so after that I can probably turn my attention to I mean, honestly, thank goodness CAL FIRE isn't right now. But yeah, after that I can start turning my attention to CAL FIRE.
Thank you.
So, and to that point, kind of to help expand on what Tamara's saying, the state budget came out, the preliminary state budget came out right in the middle of the fire siege. And, you know, up to this point, obviously the state collectively across all the organizations is taking some pretty significant budget cuts to organizations to obviously to come in under budget based on where things are at fiscally. And so when we ended the year, or at least late in the fall, CAL FIRE was looking at, they were limiting some of the grant programs that looked like, as Tamara said, we got Forest Health, but they were going to look like ultimately deferring the fire prevention component of that grant to the spring. And if folks saw on the news, basically right in the middle of the fire siege, the governor exempted CAL FIRE from those budget reductions. And so we're still waiting to see what that means in terms of the availability of grant funds. The fire prevention grants historically, along with Forest Health, have come from the sale of cap and trade. It's come from cap and trade revenues, the sale of carbon credits, and that's where that investment has been. And then in addition, this year, the last year voters passed Proposition 4, the bond measure that had a lot of funding in there that's going to multiple pots to lots of organizations across the state for climate resiliency. And there's a big piece in there related to wildfire and infrastructure, et cetera. So we're just starting to look at see what that means. Obviously, they're a bit busy at CAL FIRE to be focusing on the details, but how that will all be spread out, what will be going to different organizations and agencies, and then how that will come out in the form of grants is sort of all to be seen. But I suspect the takeaway from all of this is we're going to be seeing grant funding from the state this year. The amounts we'll need to see that when it happens. But to Ernie's point about really we need to just keep doing what we said we were going to do and get those concepts in and getting those to Tamara, even if we're not ready for them. At least let's get them in the hopper. Let Tamara organize them, because that's, as she said, that's really what Patrick wanted. When he can get back here and get into it, it'll make it a lot easier for him to just go to Tamara and look at what you've all submitted, and then she can coordinate working with you all. So moving parts there, but I think we're going to be looking and having some opportunity to be funded for the things we're doing. Awesome. Thank you, Tamara. Jessica, Assistance Program update.
Good morning, everybody. I am going to be announcing the assistance programs year-to-date numbers. For the chipping program, we completed 712 jobs, cleared 1,157 acres, chipped 132,703 cubic yards, and we spent 333,411.12 For defensible space, we evaluated 327 new parcels and we cleared 326. The average cost per parcel is $1,163.26. And the total cost we spent for the year is $414,303.76. Out of the 326 parcels we cleared, 101 of them were veterans. 288 of them were seniors, 77 of them were low income, and 91 of them were disabled residents. For hazardous tree, we assessed 170 new parcels. We completed 205. We identified 457 new trees, and we cut 500 trees. The average tree cost is $705.39, and we spent $512,032.25. For all three programs, we helped 1,243 parcels, and we spent $1,259,747.13. We also were due for our annual contract updates. And so for defensible space, we sent out an RFP for bidding, and we hired 4 new companies. Dave's Tree Works, Alta Vista Landscaping, Ace Tree Tech, and Newcomb Tree Experts were awarded the bids for defensible space clearing. Any questions?
Interesting.
Oh,
When will the, sorry. When will the resident RFP is, when will they come out again for the contractors?
right now, we are hoping to do them annually,
So you're.
once a year. Mhm.
Great. Thank you,
Okay,
Jessica.
thank you.
All right, then just a quick go back. It looks like Beth Dyer is available, so we'll just briefly take a step back. If Beth, you're available from Bureau of Reclamation.
Yep. Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Chief. Great meeting as always. Just to let you know, with the Bureau of Reclamation on the Auburn project lands, we're working with the Auburn Lake Trails Fire Safe neighborhood with Mike Connolly. We've completed some mastication and hand crew work on about 227 acres. And we're going to go back now to an area near Gate 3 and do some burn piles. We don't have an estimated time or date for that, but that's our goal. Within that area on Auburn Project lands in the Greenwood area, we have worked in the past with Tamara and El Dorado County for mapping, and we're waiting on more information. We're just not ready to put any more crews in there or any crews in there until we get some more information. So that's just on hold right now. And then over on the Folsom Project lands, Folsom Lake, we've been working with Lake Hills Fire Safe neighborhood, and that is Steve Willis. We've had the California Conservation Crew Placer Center working on the site. They were there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they were getting some accomplished. However, due to the fires 2 weeks ago, they've been pulled off the site, as well as MedFly projects. So we're thankful for Carrie Monroe over there at the Placer Center, and we're waiting for the crews to come back from LA, and then we'll get back on that contract. Thank you very much again. I appreciate your meetings.
Thank you, Beth. We have one question in the room from Alice.
How does somebody get onto your list of which projects you're doing?
Chief, do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, well, that didn't work. So what Alice is asking is that she knows there's some Bureau of Reclamation land in the Martinez Creek drainage, and she's inquiring how do constituents get on your contact list so you can engage if there's projects planned.
Oh, she might be actually, I think she might be working with BLM land. I'm not familiar with Martinez Creek. If it's within the Auburn State Recreation Area, and that is an area that goes between Placer County and El Dorado County. If that's the case, go ahead and give me an email, Elizabeth Dyer at usbr.gov. ELIZABETHDYER at usbr.gov. And I can also see if I can help you find it if it is within BLM land.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. We'll connect you guys up, and thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Okay, Hugh, training committee.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. We have 2 classes scheduled for this year. April the 23rd and 24th. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And in May, the 19th and the 20th, that's a Monday and a Tuesday. If you have not taken a defensible space class yet, I would encourage you to sign up. Many of you did sign up last year for the class that we didn't do. I have you still signed up. I sent an email out to everyone to get back to me to see if you were still interested. I gave them until February 1st to get back to me. I have received some. If you haven't seen an email from me, check your junk. For some reason, email from me goes into a lot of people's junk. So, okay, sorry.
Is that all it takes? Okay.
Sheets when you came in, one of those classes, please fill that out. And I will be getting back to you probably for the April class. I'll be sending you some stuff toward the middle or end of March, just forms and some things for you to do. But I would appreciate it if you sign up. Also, those of you that have taken the class already, and I know you probably got an email from Elizabeth. If you have taken the class already, you do not have one of our assessor guides. Elizabeth's got those today. Be sure to get that. If you have not taken the class, we're not going to give you one until you take the class. So that's out there. Also, back on, just so you know, on the 7th of this month, we had a Zoom meeting. How many of you in this room are here that were part of that? Okay, great. And that meeting was Zoom meeting was about 2 hours long, and Elizabeth and Ron Phillips ran that. And I thank Ron and Elizabeth for that. And there is that video of that is online, so you can look at it if you are interested in it. And I don't have the URL for that, but Elizabeth does. So I would encourage you to contact her. There's some good information in there, specifically about canopy separation, some things we talked about, but it also covered a whole bunch of other stuff. And we had 42 people online for that. And we'll be doing more of those down the line. And we encourage you to look at that. And if you're interested, let us know what other topics you might be interested in for that. And I think just lastly, based on what's going on in Southern California right now, if you watch the news footage, also, obviously, everybody in the county is probably seeing it. You cannot not see it. I would encourage you, now is the time to go to your communities and talk and try to get them to sign up for an assessment and get out and do those assessments. Because that news footage is the best advertisement you're ever going to get for home assessments for defensible space and home hardening. So if you haven't done it, man, I really encourage you to get your communities, your fire safe councils, and move on that. I think now's the time. That's it for me. If you don't, Elizabeth has some stuff she'd like to add. I hope that's why she'd raise her hand.
Yeah.
But you're
correct. Yeah, so you think you're already going to train some, and you don't have your mind. If you're on at 3 ELIZ is Zebra, S is Sam, T is in Tom @gmail. Send me an email
And I will, we'll figure out how to get these, or you can stop by the office on Main Street and sign them out hearing. And if you take the, if you haven't taken, when you take the class, you will get these at the class. So the other thing I wanted to throw out to all the fire safety councils is, again, with the fires in Southern California, it is the best time to address defensive space and home hardening with your council. And I before, but I am happy to come to your meetings and talk in general about defensive space and home hardening and promote the assessor program that we have trained individuals that will come to each every household and walk your property and give you specific details about what you can do to make your place for fire. That's out there, and let's push this message while we have her something.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I think Janine had her hand up with a question first.
I just wanted to ask you when training can be with our board members, brings up to 2 other people in Greenstone on our board, or fire safety council board, that want to go to successor training.
Yeah, absolutely. But the only thing I would add, she wants to know if some people that are on her board for Greenstone can attend the training. Absolutely. Anybody that's part of your fire safety council or in there is welcome to come to the training. The only thing I ask, so we don't run into the same issue we ran into a year ago, why we had to postpone. We trained 70 people. If you recall, we trained 70 people in 3 classes, and we did only 107 assessments in an entire year. And we were trying to get away from that. So please, I'm more than happy, whoever you'd like to send, but ask them before they do. Say, hey, are you really interested in where you're going to go out and do this? Or are you just interested in taking the class for your own property? You know, that, and I get that, I get it, but you know, we encourage, because it's not cheap for the fire safety council to do these classes. They're fairly pricey, frankly. Anyway, but yes.
Yeah, general contract. As a general contractor, I take the training, so when I go out to evaluate properties, I can suggest things, and then is there information for elderly people pertaining to like grant money and such that I could try to get them in contact with, so they coming out of pocket on projects that would be for defensive space and fire hardening stuff?
Yeah, let me make sure I understand your question. One is if you're looking for there's stuff to help seniors, yeah, get a hold of Alice or get a hold of.
Well, please take there's the workbooks in the back that Tanya said. Right. Yep.
Yeah, also, one of the big things you can do is have them get a hold of Elizabeth. If they're interested in an assessment, it's free, no obligation. Get a hold of Elizabeth. We have people that are trained that will come out and do an assessment and also answer a lot of the questions that you're talking about.
Fire safety council, their type of insurance gets dropped, and I'm like, no, this is some insurance. So you guys are place where you go.
Yeah, we can help here.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Can I add one thing? I don't know if there's other contractors in there too, but the Living Wildfire in Nevada is about to do an all-day course on home hardening specifically for contractors, and it's like $50. So just
yeah.
Thank you, Alice. Okay, well, you got the floor. Outreach and education.
The next one will be coming out in February, so if there's an article, something you want to showcase about the council, let me know. No. Let's see, also, even though we don't have the money yet for the California Fire Safety Council, I do have a first draft of some banners that are being suggested for around, this is the first draft, because there's like, if anybody is willing to come look at them and give me your advice, I would appreciate it. Of course, eventually we'll go to the E-board and get the approval on that, but just kind of the preliminary thought. And the idea is to put it in places where there aren't fire councils, as well as it be something available for you to put in your fire chief. So I'm not in I want to close today. Also considering that images library, yeah, I'm kind of excited about the new website. So we're going to be able to have a lot of pictures there that you can grab. There will be all the ones that we use for Fair, all the ones for lots of other places. Sounds like the ones that Anya is creating too, which is great. Her giving. So there's going to be this whole library that fire chief council can draw from. In addition, there'll be a spot for banners and posters. So if you want to take any of these banners that we have and put your own logo on it and put that up, the graphics will all be there for you to use. Same thing with posters. Tim can create a lot of different posters on various subjects. Those will be available. So they'll watch that. That's exciting. Let's see. In fact, today we have 2 CAL FIRE banners that were loaned to us that have been at Oak Hill, Fort Jim, and Rancho del Sol. If anybody wants to put those in there, council, let me know. There's 2 big 4x8 look very nice. And lastly, I think that in education, one thing that I think we all need to think about, and again, it has to do with Southern California, is how we're going to reach the people in places like El Dorado Hill, and so there's another private council there, Cameron Park, Placerville, Diamond Springs, understand the urban conflagration and structure to structure propagation. And so I don't know, I don't think we're really getting that yet. Well, people still think it's all about the movie. So if you have any ideas, please let me know.
Thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
No report.
No report. So no report from Angel on governance, new council formation. So with that, we're up to community council reports. We'll just do the round robin, go around the Rubin online for what's happened in the associate council network. Let's go to the back. That's first.
So that's on from Sierra Springs. We had our first meeting last week, and one of the big themes that's come up is the new assessment form that came out from the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. And so we started discussing, should we look forward to adopting your form or sticking with ours? And one of the things that was pointed out about our form is that at each bullet point or each checkbox, we state the exact law or ordinance that we are pointing out. So I was wondering, did that ever come under discussion? When I know at the top of this section, it says all law or ordinances, but at each point, it doesn't point out exactly the.
Right.
So that was my question.
Yeah, no, good question. And just to keep sort of this flowing today, we had a lot of discussion about the form, and obviously there's lots of ideas and what things to put on the form. It was a very spirited discussion that came forward from all of you. I mean, it was all good stuff. The decision was made based on the recommendations from the working group is to adopt the final format of the form they presented. It's a hard-coded form, not to be changed. That's the official form to use. So if you're doing assessments on behalf of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, and I'll tell you in a minute why this is important, for a number of reasons, but that's the official document that needs to happen when you're doing that. It does not preclude you from attaching other materials. If you think there's other things that are helpful that would work for you and your community, by all means do that. The part we really didn't talk about today, I realized we didn't really discuss out loud, is part of the California Fire Safe Council grant. Yeah, I'm getting my grant. Yeah, part of the Fire Safe Council grant is a PG&E grant. And yet there's a lot of these out there. We have the ability to provide funding stipends to individual associate fire safe councils who are conducting assessments. So right now the limit's set at, so for every assessment, then there's going to be information coming out. For every assessment that's conducted, you will be credited $50. We're going to capture that, every one of your assessments. Carrie will be capturing like she's doing now. There'll be documentation. Here's a picture of the form. We did it. It'll come in, you'll be credited, and then whatever we determine monthly, quarterly, depending on the volume, we'll be able to credit and provide a check to that associate council that conducted the assessment. So if you're doing an assessment in another council area, the council that's doing the assessment will be credited for that piece. So why it's important is that we really need to use the same form because we're having a standardized process that we've got to report back on to the grantor. Plus, it's also how we're tracking what information internally. So I don't want to get into a big discussion today about what's in that form. That's already happened. But that doesn't preclude, the point is, it doesn't preclude all of you include any additional information when you're doing that. So if you want to attach something that talks more about regulations, certainly include that. Yeah, go ahead.
So it has all the people. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, some more coming there. So
just a clarification for stipend. If I remember correctly, one of the stipulations was that the landowner or the property owner would have to reach out to us to request the assessment. And in Sierra Springs, they're mandatory, so we would qualify. Am I thinking that correctly?
yeah, we can certainly talk more when this comes out. The challenge we have is and the work that you're doing in Sierra Springs and Auburn Lake Trails. It's a little bit different than the voluntary, right? And we'll blow through all the money instantly. And so we're trying to get this spread out. We will talk more. There'll be more instruction coming out. I just wanted to give you sort of a precursor look at that to kind of explain why all this ties together. So, Janine.
Janine Styles from Greenstone. What if our homeowners received the wild card repair home from
IBHS.
Anyway, I had never seen these before, so anyway, I don't know if it got him anything. He hasn't had his insurance renewed yet. So just saying that these are out there, that they the insurance what is it? Yeah, I always forget that acronym. Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. There you go. Yep. They're providing certificates and they come out and do a home assessment so you can hopefully maintain your insurance. We did all the Greenstone common area buildings. We did assess all of them. It's about 6 different buildings, a barn and restrooms and stuff like that. So we did those using the new form. So we're using the new forms, told people within Greenstone that we're going to start using were generated by Eldorado County. That's it.
Thank you, Janine. Texas Hill. Okay, and then we'll come here.
Just a comment on the IBHX. Something be very helpful. And I don't know who this homeowner is, but if you could talk to them and you could get some pictures around their home, I'd be really interested as an assessor. I'd be very, very interested to know what IBHS is approving. But I'd like to see how it would look for IBHS approval, because we get that all the time. What do I need to do for IBHS? I can tell you what I think you should do, but IBHS may come in and say, no, you got to do this too. So that would be very helpful.
Talk to me afterwards. I've had my sister get through and have the same thing, and I can do this.
Right. All right. Let's keep moving through the community council reports.
I go.
Okay. David, community council for Placerville.
April 10 to 2, the possible wildfire safety and lots of fire engines, right? Chief Federal and stuff. Police gone. But anyway, usually hundreds of people come, police come and support. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Others. Karen, Mosquito.
Yay. And also acknowledge that the County Fire Safe Council for the programs. I know they're grant-based, the fund for the shipping program and the veterans and senior programs and the hazardous tree. Because that really helps us with our fire-wise data. And to Jessica for really getting the information out to us so we can use it on application.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll try to catch everybody and go back to Bob, and then we'll come back. We'll catch everybody.
earlier, large fire safe council was trying to get the folks engaged. And Colonel Lotus was a fairly large fire safe council, but in November, I think it was, the board essentially doubled the area for Colonel Lotus. And as a result, our board immediately got involved. We now recruited, I believe, 5 more board members. So every new area or community that we've identified, we now have a board member on this board, because each community has their own flavor and their own terrain, and they could speak for their own community. And as a result, we've had several meetings, and I've been giving presentations to neighborhood groups. We have several coming up, just done several. In our new 3 of our new communities now, we scheduled the spring green waste days. So we're working real hard to I've used the words here before, decentralize our fire safety council and give representation, just as we do here, to the individual communities and everything. So I think that's Firewise. Also, in these new areas, we have got our Firewise team working. We have several Zoom meetings. We have another one on Friday. We have the risk assessment form completed that we're distributing via email to the Woodbridge community for their own Firewise, and for 3 communities that we've joined together along Ludeman's. And then once we have that those 2 risk assessment surveys, we are then going to begin working with the remaining areas in the new parts of our fire safety council. So 100% one of those fire. That's what's wrong.
Outstanding. Thank you, Bob. Okay, I think I want to come back up here first. We had where are the microphones?
Ken Rogers, Logtown.
Sorry.
Last week was our first general meeting, and we had great attendance. We had our new supervisor, Brian Burkamp there. Great engagement, Brian. Simply recovered Brian. It's all good. So that was really phenomenal. Some of the challenges that we're working on for this year is we have 1 assessor, and we really are looking for additional assessors. But larger than that is creating demand for our assessments. We've got a lot of engagement with our fire safety council members, but when it comes to assessments, it's on the low side. So we really got to work on getting that approved. If anybody has any ideas or strategies that they've used that have been successful, please talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back to Royal.
We also put a Firewise email. Started our major project here was to make sure that all of information outstanding vertical and horizontal clearance to allow for our equipment and for ingress because the evacuation is necessary. We completed the first phase. It took about 10 hours of work with 7 or 8 people. One of our neighbors brought a lift so we could get our fire and then pull saws. We tell a bunch of them that they can run a chainsaw really possible too. So that worked out really well. I'm hoping that they aren't too tired. 3 more roadways to clear that. So that's all.
Thank you, Melissa. Others? Looking around the room? Have no one online? Wow. Okay. Oh, yes, the back. Again, speak up so we can all hear.
of the fire safe plan. Now, leading through by the also fire marshal for the fire department. Secondly, we now have scheduled for February the 25th. We have a webinar with United policy holders. The last, their relative to the current state of homeowners insurance in California, which is.
Great, thank you. Okay. Are we? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna do a public comment.
All right. Oh, gotcha. All right. So with that, we'll go to public comment.
Sorry,
When you did that the 5-year review HOA fire plan, are they now allowing people not to have mulch right against their house?
Now let,
I thought they had to have mulch right against their house. Are the HOA starting to recognize?
HOA. No, it's not required. You can't enforce it, so it's not in law covered, which is very disappointing.
Great, thank you. All right, public comment.
Want to express the fire hydrant questions that came up with Chief Cordero. So EID in the EID area, they maintain the fire hydrants. A bunch of years ago, they were not maintaining them well. They are now on a circuit where every 5 years the fire hydrants are tested and maintained. You can tell that they've been recently inspected because they paint them. They've got bright paint. It means they've been inspected. And if you want to know the location of your closest fire hydrant, EID on their website has a locate my fire hydrant. So just go to the EID website, just put fire hydrant, and it'll take you to the interactive maps, and it'll show you where the closest fire hydrant is.
Thank you, Paul. Right.
So did you see? Yes. They're back on schedule.
Okay. So wrapping up, I'm listening to a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas coming up about future presentations, discussion items. I definitely think insurance is something that's we should be thinking about. Maybe we have a presentation, and I know we want to talk to OWAP a little bit about that. But I think everyone may be interested a little bit as folks start coming back from the Southern California fires, our agency partners, maybe there's some insight that we can glean from the folks that have been down there on the ground and things that they've been seeing, particularly as it relates to, what we do here in our mission. And so I think about that. And then also it really came out in Chief Cordero's presentation about fire apparatus and, operational procedures. Maybe we just need to take a step back and have a good fire service 101 conversation about what apparatus are used for. And it doesn't have to get super technical, but I think it'd be a great opportunity for between the fire agencies, CAL FIRE, and the Forest Service to really walk us through, how that stuff works and what is a fire engine versus a hand crew and what does that really mean? So anyway, just thoughts that I have, but as Angel said and others, please think about topics for the brown bag. We really want to use this, the next year and the opportunity to have everybody together and have those conversations. So with that, we are almost right at noon. We'll adjourn the meeting. The next board meeting is February 19th right here. Thank you all. Have a great day.
We'll go home then.